राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानंदना जय व्रजजन रंजना जय यमुना तीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधे जो विश्वपाद परमहंस परिचार्य स्तोत्र श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्रीहरिदास ठाकुर की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. So Hare Krishna dear devotees, it's so nice to see you all. I'm seeing many of you after such a long time. Keshav Priya Prabhu and Madhi Mataji, especially thank you for engaging yourselves so nicely in establishing this center, Bhakti Center, under the auspices of ISKCON Sydney, under the auspices of Sri Sri Radha Gopinath. Thank you so much, Viraj Krishna Prabhu, for coordinating and arranging this session, for giving me an opportunity to speak from Srimad Bhagavatam. And welcome to all the devotees.
You should take it ahead, Prabhu. Thank you.
No, yes, I remember I was supposed to come there personally, but then the lockdowns happened and it wasn't meant to be. But nonetheless, we are here today, able to associate via this forum. So let's do few prayers, and thereafter the allotted verse is that verse number 5, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, 5. So we'll try to meditate on this verse. Please, you can repeat after me. Narayanam namaskritya
Narayanam namaskritya
naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. So before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances onto the personality of Godhead Narayana, onto Naranarayana Rishi, the supermost human being, onto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and onto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So this is very important, that here in this verse that we usually recite before undertaking Srimad Bhagavatam class, it is stated that one who regularly attends under the classes of Srimad Bhagavatam, regular means daily. So Srila Prabhupada established the culture of Srimad Bhagavatam as Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Nityam means daily or always. And in this way, what happens is Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki, devotional service unto Krishna, is established as an irrevocable fact. Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest scripture in the world, ever to be and ever will be. Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, he once said that if all the books in this world are burnt and only Srimad Bhagavatam is kept, there will be no loss. Because Srimad Bhagavatam entails everything that a man needs to know for living a successful life, both materially and spiritually. So I hear devotees for quite a few months have been very nicely conducting and engaging in discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam. And I was very pleased to hear that specifically the first 3 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, you all spend, I think over 2 or even 3 months discussing. And these 3 verses form the basis of Srimad Bhagavatam. They are prelude to Srimad Bhagavatam, as stated by Srila Prabhupada in one of the purports. And if we can memorize actually these 3 verses, it will be very, very nice, because these 3 verses give the objective. So in the first verse, without wasting any time, Srila Vyasadeva establishes Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, as the supreme absolute truth. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadeyasya Yatvanvayadi Taratas Chartheshvabhignaha Swaran Tene Brahmaridayadi Kavaye Muhyanti Yat Surayaha Tejo Varimritam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargam Risha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. So in this first verse, Krishna is introduced as Satyam Param Dhimahi, the supreme absolute truth. So the author Vyasadeva doesn't waste any time. And I'm sure you have gone through all the individual components, therefore I won't cover it. However, when we are doing the first chapter or even second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, it will be nice if devotees can recite at least these 3 verses before starting the class, just to remember the context in which Srimad Bhagavatam is presented. And the second verse is also very important. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo mirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavatam mahamnikrite kim va pareshvaraha sadyorithya varudhyate prakritibhis susrusubhis tatshana. In this verse, very nicely, the author establishes that Srimad Bhagavatam is a sublime literature, free from any material motivation. And one who is chased to Srimad Bhagavatam, immediately, without any fail, what will happen? Sadhyo Hridya Varudhyate Prakritibihi. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, will be established as an irrevocable fact in the heart. Because this Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. Srimad Bhagavatam has 12 cantos, and it is said Krishna has 12 bodily limbs. Therefore, each canto of Srimad Bhagavatam represents a bodily limb of Krishna. Very nicely in Sri Pradma Purana, where the glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam is held, it is stated, Namami Devam Karunanidhanam, that this Srimad Bhagavatam, it is paying obeisances, Namami Devam. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is a personality. It is Krishna himself. Bhagavatam, Ayam Bhagavatam. Firstly, it is said, Bhagavatam Prokta Bhagavatam. Krishna spoke Bhagavatam. Then, when Krishna spoke Bhagavatam, it can be taken as that what he spoke and Krishna himself are separate from each other. Therefore, again it was stated, Bhagavatam, Ayam Bhagavatam. That Bhagavatam is Bhagavan, Krishna himself. They are non-different. Therefore, this nice prayer, Namami Devam Karunanidhanam, Tamala Varnam Suhitavataram. So Krishna's Varna, Krishna's bodily hue is compared to the Tamala tree. So this Tamala tree are lots in Vrindavan. They are dark blackish color, same almost as Krishna's bodily hue. And what is the speciality of the Srimad Bhagavatam? Apara samsara samudra setum. So this samsara, this cycle of birth and death, is unlimited, is unsurmountable. It is very, very difficult to overcome the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. However, this samudra, this ocean, Srimad Bhagavatam acts as a setu. Setu means bridge. So when there is a bridge, it is very easy to cross over. And therefore, bhajamahe Bhagavata Swarupam. Therefore, we worship Srimad Bhagavatam because it is Bhagavata Swarupam. Its Swarupa, meaning its form, is same as Krishna. It is not different from Krishna. And furthermore, Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha. This Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all scriptures. And so everything which is in Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all scriptures there may be. And the third verse goes on to say this. Nigam kalpataror galitam phalam sukha mukhadamreta drava samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasam malayam muhur aho raseka bhuvi bhavukaha. So Vyasadeva says Nigama. Nigama means the Vedic scriptures. So the Vedic scriptures are regarded, the Upanishads, the Puranas, they are regarded as a tree. However, the Srimad Bhagavatam is a Kalitam Phalam, the ripened fruit of this tree. So if one is to eat the twigs or the leaves of a mango tree, it is actually not only unpalatable and indigestible, it is utterly obnoxious proposition. However, the ripe mango of the tree is not only relishable, digestible, it is also nourishing to the body. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam is a scripture which will hit chords with any living entity. Whether that living entity is free from material desires, whether that living entity is trying to do devotional service, upagiyamana bhavoshadat, that living entity wants to cross over the cycle of birth and death, or thirdly, whether the living entity is not a devotee, however, is interested in hearing some story, and that story, if is presented from Srimad Bhagavatam, the story of Krishna's pastimes, then that person will get ultimate benefit, ultimate good. Why? Because this is Uttama Shloka. Uttama means the best, and Shloka means verses. The best of the selected verses is described in Srimad Bhagavatam in glorification of Krishna. And this is the essence, and this essence establishes various rasas. The Srimad Bhagavatam is very, very vast. And who are we? And specifically, who am I to even dare to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam? The best commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam, stated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is Sridhar Swami. So before starting the commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, Sridhar Goswami says, where is the ocean of Srimad Bhagavatam, so full of meanings? And where am I? A dull-witted, tiny, insignificant, slow-minded soul. How can a tiny worm like me ever swim in the vast nectarian ocean of Srimad Bhagavatam? However, yet there is hope. Just as the Lord lifted the Mandara mountain on his back as Kurma Avtara, I pray that the Lord also lifts my understanding and my intellect so that I may be able to do something worthwhile with Srimad Bhagavatam. So this should be our prayer as we approach Srimad Bhagavatam, because there is no way we can understand Srimad Bhagavatam. However, if in a submissive mood, Susrushova, this is covered in the second verse, I think, Susrushobhis Tatshanat. If in a submissive and without challenging mood one approaches Srimad Bhagavatam, then as the Lord lifted the Mandara mountain when the demigods and the demons were chaining the ocean, and the Mandara mountain was used as the rod, then the Mandara mountain was sinking into the ocean. However, the Lord incarnated as Kurma, and he lifted the Mandara mountain and held it on his back. Similarly, the understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam is not only sublime, but at times it is quite bewildering. And therefore, only if Krishna lifts our intellect, one of Krishna's name in Srimad Bhagavatam is given as Dhyam Patihi. He is the director of the intelligence. Therefore, if only he directs our intelligence, we may be able to enter into Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is a scripture of mellows, the rasas. Rasika Bhuvi Bhavuka, it is mentioned, and I'm no doubt you have covered extensively. But I would like to touch on a nice verse of Srimad Bhagavatam in the 10th canto, when Krishna is invited in the wrestling arena of Kamsa to fight the wrestlers Mushtika and Chanura. Then before coming into the wrestling arena, Kamsa arranges for a wild elephant named as Kuvalyapira to kill Krishna. However, Krishna, who can kill him? Krishna fights with the elephant and Krishna kills the elephant. And then Krishna takes the tusk of the elephant out and he places it on his broad shoulders. And along with his elder brother Balaram, he enters the wrestling arena. And that wrestling arena, you can imagine, we can say it's like an Sydney cricket ground, SCG, or Melbourne cricket ground. The only reason I'm mentioning this is because you can see the vast crowd all around encircling the center of the ground. So similarly, there was a vast arrangement in this arena where hundreds and thousands of people had assembled. And in this way, Krishna, along with his elder brother and along with his Gop friends from Vrindavan, enter that wrestling arena. And different people see Krishna in different forms, according to their own respective disposition and demeanor. And Shukdev Goswami very nicely describes this. He says, Mallanam Ashanirminam Naraharam Strinam Smaro Murtiman Gopanam Swajano Satam Shitibhujam Sashta Swapitru Sisuhu Mrityorbhojapate Virata Vidusam Tatvam Param Yoginam Vrishninam Paradevate Vidito Rangam Gata Sagrajaha. So Rangam means the arena, the wrestling arena. Sa means Krishna and Grajaha means his elder brother. As soon as Krishna along with his elder brother entered the wrestling arena, different people thought of him in different rasas. So Mallana means the wrestlers. They saw Krishna as a lightning and thunder, that now Krishna will kill us. Naravaninam, the men in the assembly, they saw Krishna as the best of men. They saw themselves as not samartha or able enough. Man means one who is able. But in front of Krishna, everyone is Prakriti. Everyone is of feminine nature, because no one can match the manhood or the masculinity of Krishna. Not that he has broad muscles or anything like that, but he is the personification of Purusha. And therefore, Stirinam Smaro Murtiman, all the ladies in that arena, they saw Krishna as the most beautiful person, as personification of Qubit. Krishna's beauty immediately attracted everyone's attention. Srinam Smaro Murtiman. Gopanam Swajano, and the Gopavals, Krishna's cowhead friends who were in the wrestling arena, who entered along with Krishna, they saw Krishna as Swajana. Swajana means, oh, he's our own. Like everyone is adoring Krishna in one way or the other, in either a rasa which is favorable or rasa which is unfavorable. However, the Gopal say, but Krishna, he is one of us. Swajana, he is one of us. He's not different. Very nicely in Chaitanya Charitamrita it is mentioned, one of Krishna's friends says, oh Krishna, just because you have killed a few asuras here and there, don't think you are too strong. You haven't fought with me yet. If you fight with me, I'll defeat you. And true enough, Krishna relishes the prospect of being defeated by his devotee. And in Vrindavan, when Krishna fights with his friends, he loses. And as the condition of the fight, Krishna then carries his friends on his shoulders and does a parikrama of Vrindavan, going around Vrindavan. And in this way, Krishna relishes that ras, and his Gopa friends also relish. Gopanam Swajano, Shatam, and Shitibhujam, and all the kings that had come as the friends or the partners of Kamsa, they saw Krishna as Shatam. Shatam means great Panisha, that Krishna, who do not abide by the spiritual or the religious principles, who break the laws of nature, Krishna to them comes as Panisha. So they act in fear. Mrityur Bhojapater, Kamsa, he saw Krishna as death personified. So Kamsa had a rasa, a mellow of fear. Whenever Krishna's name was mentioned, Kamsa would sweat because of terror, because he always feared that Krishna would kill him. Mrityu Bhojapater, and then Satyam Param Yogina, the yogis who were in that wrestling arena, they saw Krishna as the supreme absolute truth. The yogis meditate on Krishna as supreme absolute truth. And those who are unintelligent, foolish people, that makes up 99.9% of people in this material world, including us. when they saw Krishna, they could not understand who Krishna is. Who is this personality? They were bewildered. So most people, they say, oh, only if Krishna is here, then it would be easy for us. But guess what? Krishna was there when Duryodhana was there, Shishupal was there, so many personalities were there, but none of them were able to accept or recognize Krishna's personality as the supreme person of Godhead. They were all bewildered. So what is the guarantee that we will also recognize? And the Vrishnis, they saw Krishna as the supreme worshipable deity, Devata Paru. Krishna is our supreme worshipable deity. And as a benediction to our ancestor Yadu, Krishna appeared in this dynasty of Vrishni and Yadus. So in this way, everyone has a mellow, a rasa. And depending on what our demeanor and disposition and approach to Srimad Bhagavatam is, if we approach Srimad Bhagavatam in a favorable mood, in an unchallenging mood, not to say that we cannot ask questions, however, the questions we ask has to be in the mood of submission rather than challenge, in the mood of wanting and to know, inquisitive to know, rather than just for the sake of knowing. Then what? Then Srimad Bhagavatam itself reveals itself to us. Srimad Bhagavatam will speak to us. Therefore, it is stated in the end of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam. This Srimad Bhagavatam is a spotless Purana. Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. And it is very dear to Vaishnavas. Vaishnava means one who is a devotee of Krishna. Why it is dear? Because it is full of description of Krishna's various pastimes and personal pastimes of Krishna in the 10th canto. Yasmin paramaham samekam amalam jnanam param giyate. So this is the one scripture of Paramahamsya. Paramahamsya means, Hamsa means a swan. So the beauty of swan is that in a dirty lake, the swan can extract milk from the roots of the lotus flower, even though the whole environment is dirty. So similarly, this material world is a dirty place. Srila Prabhupada used to say, this is not a fit place for a gentleman. However, a devotee is like a Hamsa. It is not a Hamsa only, he is like a Paramhamsa. I remember when Jananand Maharaj was in Sydney, then at time there was this devotee called Hanse. I think he was from Sweden or one of the European countries, can't remember. So he had just joined, he was a new Bhakta only. And as Maharaj came in the foyer of ISKCON Sydney temple, he bowed down. He was, of course, in very shabby dress, not, long hair, not quite devotee looking, but he bowed down. And Maharaj just put his hand around his shoulders in the usual manner and asked him, what's your name? And he said, Hanse. And Maharaj said, what? Hanse. What kind of name is this? So Maharaj said, from today your name is Hamsa. So all the devotees started calling him Hamsa then. Then the next time Maharaj came, after 1 year, then this devotee had been fixed in devotional service. Now he was wearing devotional clothes, saffron dhoti, saffron kurta, shaved off. Maharaj could not recognize him. So Maharaj again put his hand around his shoulder and asked, what's your name? And he said, oh Maharaj, last time you gave me the name Hamsa. So then Maharaj said, yes, I did. Okay, so this time your name is Paramahamsa. So Paramahamsa means one who is able to extract the essence out of everything. And the essence of everything is Krishna. So this Srimad Bhagavatam will enable us to extract the essence, the Krishna, out of everywhere, in each situation, from nature, from the rivers, from the plants, from the vegetation, from the planet, from all our surroundings, from the consciousness. And that is the beauty of Paramahamsa, that he is able to extract the essence of everything. And therefore, such Paramahamsas are known as Saranganam. This beautiful word is used in Srimad Bhagavatam. Saranganam is one who can extract the Sara. Sara means the essence. So, Yasmin Paramahamsam Ekamamadam Jnanam Param Giyate. Supreme knowledge of absolute truth is given in here. The knowledge that is in Srimad Bhagavatam will not be found anywhere else. And this Srimad Bhagavatam will give us jnana, knowledge, vairagya, detachment from material association, and bhakti, devotional service unto Lord Krishna. These three things. And what is the methodology of approaching Srimad Bhagavatam? Very nicely he states. Tachrinvan supathan vicharana paro bhaktya vimuchyena naraha. The Tachrinvan, one should hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And then not only hearing is enough, you all should then repeat it to yourselves whenever you are alone. So these verses of Srimad Bhagavatam that we sung nicely, they should be supatan. Supatan means repeating it again and again. And Prabhupada says in the verse I think we are studying today that this is called Shravanam and Kirtanam, hearing and repeating. And then the third stage will come about. What is the third stage? Vicharana paro. Vicharana paro means thinking over the subject matter seriously. And this will result in bhaktya vimuchyena naraha, that the devotee will be liberated from the cycle of birth and death, and he will be attaining bhakti, devotion unto Shri Krishna. So let's get into the verse for today. Before we go on, any questions so far? Okay, so how do we do this? Do we usually share the screen of the verse?
Yeah, Prabhu, you can share the screen.
Okay. Okay. Please give me a few moments.
I have a question just while we're sharing the screen. Hi, Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, you can go ahead. Vilas Manjari Mataji?
Can you hear me? No,
Yeah.
actually, sorry. Just 1 minute.
Your voice is a bit feeble, but yes, we can hear you.
Yes, Mataji, you had a question?
Yes, I have a question. Sorry, I had to change to my headphones. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, very clear, Mataji. How are you?
Okay. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you so much. This class is so nice. So nice to just sit and hear the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. So my question is, so you're talking about how Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna. And I always wondered about this, that we hear that Srimad Bhagavatam is eternal. You said Srimad Bhagavatam is a person. How do we understand with Srimad Bhagavatam being eternal? Does that mean that all the prayers, all the questions and answers are exactly the same every time Srimad Bhagavatam appears?
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice question. So the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam mentioned are eternal. And as we look in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam is given first by Lord Vishnu to Brahmaji, and then Brahma gives it to Narada, and then Narada gives it to Vyasa, and then Vyasa there expands those 4 verses into 18,000 verses, and capturing the historical context of Krishna's appearance in this planet and also in various other planets as well. So the pastimes of the Lord are unlimited, and it cannot actually be encaptured in just 18,000 verses as well. However, the speciality of Vyasadeva is that he is incarnation of Krishna himself. So while the principles encapsulated in Srimad Bhagavatam are always the same, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his various incarnations such as Nrsimha, Vamana, Varaha, all these in different planets and this planet Earth as well, and in different universes are happening at all the time. Those principles remain the same, but particular reference in terms of its historical context is specially given to those of in the present planet of the present universe, and namely this Earth planet. And we see the Pandavas appearing, and Abhimanyu's son Parikshit Maharaj asking the relevant question. So in that terms, it is relevant to the situation of the current day and time. So it changes as the Vyas is a position. So the current Vyasadeva is there, known as Dvaipayana. But the next Vyasadeva, when the whole creation will be done again, will actually be Ashwatthama, who is one of the villains of this particular historical context. But Srimad Bhagavatam is so beautiful that actually there is no condemnation in hell for eternity. Ashwatthama, who is the villain of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, who kills the innocent sons of Draupadi and tries to kill Parikshit, the hero of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the womb of his mother. Even he, after being remorseful, after undergoing purification and the word I'm trying to use is trying to get relief from his condition of punishment. He again establishes himself in a position where he becomes the next Vyasa. So the historical context will change, but the principles will remain the same and ever fresh. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yeah, thank you very much. That makes a lot of sense. So the principles and the pastimes are eternal, and they're all expanded from the 4 verses. The Vyasadeva expands on the 4 verses by reciting the principles, the pastimes, and responding to the questions. But the actual question asker and will vary.
That's
the
right,
historical
Mataji.
context.
That's
Thank you.
right, Mataji. The personalities vary. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So this is called Vicharana Paro. Vicharana, after hearing, after repeating, then Vichara. We think about the subject matter, and that entails asking questions. As we see, Srimad Bhagavatam is full of questions, as we are going to start seeing now. So please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, first chapter, text number 5. Ta ekada tu munayaha
ता
एकदा कुमुनयः
प्रातर्हुताहुताग्नयः
प्रातर्हुताहुताग्नयः
तत्कृतं सूतमासीनम्
सत्कृतं सूतमासीनम्
प्रपच्युरिदमादरात्.
प्रपच्युरिदमादरात्.
So I'll just go on doing word to word. They, the sages, ekada, one day, two, but, munayaha, sages, prataha, morning, huta, burning, hutatnayaha, the sacrificial fire, satkritam, due respects, sutam, Sri Suta Goswami, asinam, seated on, prapachuhu, made inquiries, idam, on this, as follows, adarat, with due regards. Translation by His Loving Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
One day, after finishing their morning duties by burning a sacrificial fire and offering a seat of esteem to Srila Suta Goswami, the great sages made inquiries with great respect about the following matters. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Please hear. Morning is the best time to hold spiritual services. The great sages offered the speaker of the Bhagavatam an elevated seat of respect called the Vyasa Asana, or the seat of Sri Vyasadeva. Sri Vyasadeva is the original spiritual preceptor for all men, and all other preceptors are considered to be his representatives. A representative is one who can exactly present the viewpoint of Sri Vyasadeva. Sri Vyasadeva impregnated the message of Bhagavatam onto Srila Shukadeva Goswami, and Sri Suta Goswami heard it from him, Sri Shukadeva Goswami. All bona fide representatives of Sri Vyasadeva in the chain of the disciplic succession are to be understood to be Goswamis. These Goswamis restrain all their senses and they stick to the path made by the previous acharyas. The Goswamis do not deliver lectures on Bhagavatam capriciously. Rather, they execute their services most carefully, following their predecessors who delivered the spiritual message unbroken to them. Those who listen to the Bhagavatam may put questions to the speaker in order to elicit the clear meaning, but this should not be done in a challenging spirit. One must submit questions with a great regard for the speaker and the subject matter. This is also the way recommended in Bhagavad Gita. One must learn transcendental subject by submissive oral reception from the right sources. Therefore, these sages addressed the speaker Suta Goswami with great respect. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapad Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitamtam Sachivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchani Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktabinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Bhutair Mahadbhirya Imapuro Vibhu Nirmaya Shete Yadamu Supurusha Bhunte Gunan Shodashishoda Chatmaka Solam Krisishta Bhagavan Vachamsi Me. Shri Krishna Sharanam Sharanagatam Katham Amritam Satatapivatam Bhakti Vedanta Marga Panthanam Sarvaloka Rishideva Janna Prasannam Sarvaloka Rishideva Janna Prasannam. Hare Krishna. So, in this verse, particularly, a few words are very significant, and Prabhupada elaborates this in the purport as well. So, pratar means in the morning. So, if one wants to be successful in their spiritual practices and endeavors, it is very important to rise up early in the morning, especially before sunrise. This morning period is known as Brahma Muhurta. And why? Because atmosphere is surcharged with goodness. And devotional service, when done in mode of goodness, reaps the proper benefit. As we'll see in the fourth canto, devotional service can be done in mode of passion, mode of ignorance, and mode of goodness. However, the results are different. Devotional service done in mode of goodness will result in transcendental happiness. Brahmaji mentions this in third canto, that sattvam mridayate. Mridayate means it brings happiness. So we can experience ourselves that when we are able to wake up early in the morning and nicely freshen ourselves and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and attend the morning program that Srila Prabhupada had set up, like Mangal Arati, and then Tulsi Puja, chanting on our beads the Hare Krishna mantra, and then attending morning Srimad Bhagavatam classes, then our whole day actually goes nicely and successfully. This is the effect of pratar, the morning. It's a mode of goodness. So how can we get up in the morning? It is said little to eat and early to rise. So especially the evening meals should be very light. And actually it is said we should not eat after sunset. So I know a few devotees here, their last meal is actually at about 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock at most. And thereafter, they don't eat anything. And when one practices this regularly, not only it's healthy, but they are then able to extract themselves out of the bed very quickly. So the practical points on how we wake up. Waking up is not when our eyes open. In scriptures, it is said, waking up is when we get out of the bed. So one should not waste time. As soon as the eyes open, one should just jump out of the bed. No, the Vedic injunction is uddishtaha jagrutaha. So jagrita means what? Anyone?
Waking up.
Waking up. Very good, Mataji. And uttishtaha means what?
Getting up from the bed.
Getting up. Yeah. So we get up first. After that, we'll wake up. So as soon as the eyes open, we just jump out of the bed. I remember one of my god brothers in Rajkot. He actually is a brahmachari from small age, and he sleeps. Actually, the extraordinary thing about him is he goes to sleep with Srimad Bhagavatam on his chest. Srimad Bhagavatam is his life and soul. So he has Canto 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam on his chest and he goes to sleep. And all of a sudden, without any alarm or anything, sharp at 3:30, without any fail, he will just wake up. And he won't wake up just lying down. All of a sudden, he'll just be like that. He'll be sleeping and up straight away. So that, and he'll immediately get up and pay obeisances onto Srimad Bhagavatam, fold his bed, and immediately start the morning activities. So we had to remember these principles of little to eat, early to rise, and get out of bed before the bed kicks us. And when we are up immediately, then we are awake. So this is the Vedic way of waking up. Uttishta Jagrata. And then we are able to do the morning prayers, morning activities, morning sadhana, devotional practices very nicely. Huta hutagnaha. Satkritam. So here it is mentioned that with due respect. So we are at the point where the 1,000-year sacrifice is going on in Naimisharanya. And I'm sure in the previous verse, I think His Grace Govindhari Prabhu I was told, has given, yes. So the significance of Naimisharanya would have been mentioned, and the whole scene would have been set. So we won't go there. However, how they give the seat of esteem, Sutam Asinam. Asinam means the Vyas Asan, the seat of esteem to a recognized personality who is known as Suta Goswami. He is also known as Ugrashrava Suta. So there is historical context to this, that his father Romaharshana, at the beginning of this 1,000-year sacrifice, was placed on the Vyasa Asan. However, Lord Balram, Krishna's elder brother, he decided not to engage himself in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, fighting the war. So he was going to visit all the places of pilgrimage to associate with sages and brahmanas. Although he himself is a supreme personality of Godhead, he, to set an example, engaged in this transcendental activity. However, when he reached Naimisharanya, he was greeted with due respects by everyone. Everyone actually recognized him to be supreme personality of Godhead. However, one personality, Romaharshana, he was sitting on the Vyasa Asana. And ordinarily, the seat of Vyasa Asana is here described as a seat of esteem. So this is a very dangerous position to be seated in this seat. Why? Because it comes with great responsibility. So one who sits on this seat has to be humble as the first thing. The speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, the first and the foremost speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam is Shukadeva Goswami, and we'll see later on. And his prayer before speaking Srimad Bhagavatam is what? That Solam Krisishta Bhagavan Vachamsi me. Oh my Lord, I am able to not speak anything. Only if you put potency in my words. Vacha means words. Be pleased to decorate my words so that I can speak something. Then only I can speak. So this humility is very important. We see actually there is in the internet or in the YouTube, there is this small clip going around, and I may send it to Srimad Krishna Prabhu if I get hold of it, where the Pune temple president, His Grace Radhesham Prabhu, he comes in the temple room in the morning to give Srimad Bhagavatam class, and he sits on the Vyasa Asana and he starts giving class. But after a few minutes, he notices that his own spiritual master is sitting down and listening. So immediately, without any fail, he actually jumps off the Vyasa Asana and lies flat like a stick on the ground, paying respect and obeisances to his spiritual master, and folds his hands, and he requests his spiritual master, Radhanath Swami, you please sit on the Vyasa Asana, you please give class. And of course, we see in that clip, Radhanath Swami very lovingly and nicely embraces Radhesham Prabhu, and very lovingly, says to him, no, you continue giving the class. But this aspect is known as Maryada Vratikrama, when an elderly person, elderly means more experienced, more advanced devotee is there, then how can one have the audacity to speak in front of them? So Maharaj just stands and gives blessings, and Maharaj then leads the assembly. So it is very important to keep this Maryada. Maryada means the etiquette that the senior devotee has to be offered the esteemed seat of Vyasa Asana. And so the question may arise, but then how other devotees will learn? Well, the answer is that in a temple environment or like this center environment, that is a bit different. This is not a great historical occasion. Well, it is a great historical occasion because we are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam in its own sense. But putting it in context, it is not an occasion where, Parikshit Maharaj has been cursed, and he has come to seek guidance. Or it is not a great festival like Janmashtami, where thousands of devotees have got together. This discussion is a mutual discussion where we all are trying to learn from each other. Therefore, for learning purposes, actually, even a junior person can sit on the seat of Vyasa Asana and give class, and the elderly and advanced devotees will be there to encourage them, to give them feedback. In many occasions, actually, Chitta Hari Prabhu mentioned quite a few times that when Prabhupada was there, he would ask his disciples to give class in front of him. I know once my spiritual master asked me to do that, and I was very terrified. How can I speak in front of my spiritual master? But nonetheless, because he said and he ordered, I spoke with great awe and reverence, but at the same time very terrified as well. So he asked Sarup Damodar Maharaj to give class. At that time he wasn't a sannyasi, and Sarup Damodar Maharaj was fumbling while he was speaking, but nonetheless Prabhupada was encouraging. So in that area, in that setup, it is okay. However, if there is a senior visiting devotee, and some schedule has been made, at that time, that schedule should go out the window, and opportunity should be given to all devotees to hear the senior devotee. And in that way, we can all nicely get different flavors of Srimad Bhagavatam from the experience and realizations of all devotees. So this, however, on this occasion, it wasn't an ordinary event because Balaram is almost non-different from Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone stood up to pay respects except for Rama Harshani. And Balaram saw that although he had learnt everything, but he hadn't realized it. He didn't realize the essence. So my grandmother used to say this, Bhainapan Gainani, which means you studied, but you did not grab the essence of those studies. So it is important to grab the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Balaram is Adi Guru, spiritual master, and one of the functions of spiritual master is to chastise the disciple when he is not in the proper conduct. And Lord Balaram, what did he do? He just took a kusha grass, and with that kusha grass, Rama Harshani, he just killed him. And there was, uproar in the assembly that, we had put him in the seat of esteem and now he's gone. Who will continue this service of speaking the glories of the Lord and continuing this sacrifice? So they requested Balaram. So Balaram, being all merciful, he actually gave all blessings to Sud Goswami. So Sud Goswami was the son of Rama Harshani. and he's known as Ugrashava Sutta. So Sutta Goswami is not only now in the current environment when this Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken, he's a realized soul, but he's a blessed soul, directly blessed by Adi Guru, Lord Balram. And therefore it is befitting that he given Asinam the esteemed seat of Vyasa Asam. And then proper etiquette of Prapachur. Prapachur means asking questions. So we'll see now how questions are put forward to Sud Goswami. Idam Adarat. Adarat means with great regard and due respect. So questions should not be asked like this. Oh Prabhu, I don't believe you. What you are saying is not correct. No. With due respect means, Prabhu, what you are saying, I can believe it to be true, but I'm finding it hard to understand it. Can you please explain it to me so that my dull-headed mind can contemplate what you are saying? So this is called Adarat. So with great respect and with due regard to the person who is representing Vyasa there, this is to be given. And Prabhupada says in the paper that the person doesn't speak capriciously. Capriciously means just without regard or just without care, without attention. No, the intention of the speaker is what? First and foremost intention of the speaker is that how can I speak so that the message of Krishna consciousness will be awakened in the hearts of the listeners. So our Guru Maharaj used to say, if we are going up on an ego pride that, we have got this seat and we can speak anything and anything we want, the effect on the hearers won't be there. However, if we regard ourselves as unqualified, but this is a service that I've been given, I'll do this service. I will speak just to glorify Krishna. And this glorification of Krishna is for my purification. And I pray to Krishna, lastly, that whatever I speak may hit chords with the listeners. And the listeners, I pray to Krishna, that give the listeners intelligence and the ability to understand this message. And with that service attitude, if Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken, and with the humble attitude when Srimad Bhagavatam is received, then it is beneficial both to the speaker and to the hearer. They both mutually benefit. And the audience who are listening to the questions and answers, they also benefit. So I see I have gone 5 minutes over time. So I think we'll stop here. And I'll take any questions if devotees have any questions. Probably just remember to unmute yourselves. Yes, okay. So there don't seem to be any questions. Is Shubha Krishna Prabhu there?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. We had a quick question we wanted to ask. Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yes, Keshav.
Yes, Prabhuji. Earlier in the class, you were mentioning Maharaj's morning schedule. His Holiness Maharaj's morning schedule. Could you please share his morning schedule, Prabhuji? How he would wake up, what he would do in the morning?
He would wake up very early, 2 o'clock or 2:30, and immediately, he would go to have a bath. But as soon as he woke up, he would start recitation of Bhagavad Gita. So he had whole of Bhagavad Gita by heart. So he would start with first chapter, and by the time he finished his bath and got dressed up, he would have already recited up to even 5 chapters. So very quickly, yes, he would recite Dhritarashtra Vacha Dharam Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yudsava Mamaka Pandavaseva Kimakuravata Sanjaya Sanjayo Vacha Drishtva Pandavani Kam Vyudam Duryodhanastata. So in that way, all the verses, and he would meditate on them. So by that, and then when he had done that, got ready, then he would start chanting his japa. And before Mangala Arati, he would finish his japa, 16 rounds. Then he would attend Mangala Arati, do the whole morning program. And after the Mangala Arati, stay and chant a bit. But then because he's already chanted his scheduled rounds, after chanting few more rounds, then he would go back to his room, and then he would start studying Srimad Bhagavatam. And his studying of Srimad Bhagavatam, was reading, reciting, writing notes, and he trained us very well actually in writing notes. And this is one of the things that, I would devotees since in this forum are starting from the first canto. If we can get in the habit of writing notes, that will be very good, because and then after writing notes, then throughout the day, whenever we get 5 minutes, when there is work break, we can just quickly look at the notes, and then our consciousness then again comes back to the morning time of Bhagavatam discussions of Krishna's pastimes. And amidst our material work, we are able to be able to remember Krishna and have some sense of sanity around the place. So that was the morning schedule. And then, of course, he would, if scheduled, give Srimad Bhagavatam class. But his study of Srimad Bhagavatam would, during the daytime, go on to 4 hours, 5 hours at times. And sometimes from the other room, when I was saving him, I could hear him just shouting, "Oh, Hare Krishna, Jai Prabhupada." Prabhupada has written so nicely. Yes.
So beautiful. I think I forgot to tell you that we can go till 9:30. I mean, if you have some more to talk about.
Oh, okay.
It's Sunday Bhagavatam, so 1.5 hours. Yeah.
Sure.
Can I ask a question? Just on that point of writing notes when we read, could you give any more tips about writing notes? So we read Bhagavatam, we write. I know myself personally, I tend to write too much as I read, and then because I've written so much, I don't read over it. So I just wonder if you can give some little tips on note taking as we read.
Yes, I usually keep 2 diaries. Well, I have many diaries, but in writing notes, so when we are attending class, then I write quite a bit. And then after writing it, then I go over the notes, and then I condense that into another diary, which hits chords with me, some ways which I like, and then I write it properly and neatly in another diary, and write the practical points there, and that forms the basis of then going back to that diary. So for example, this diary of mine, I've had it for many years, and this is my diary with quite a particular bit of notes. And also over time, then I've learned to use different colors of pens as well. So the sloka I will write in, maybe a black ink, and then any points which are important, any words which are important, I would just underline with red ink. And any points in the notes which are important, I'll just take it with red ink. And then any commentary, I'd write it in blue ink, like that. So when I'm giving class, it's very easy to then just see, okay, here are the red points, which are the important ones. Yes, Mataji. Yeah. But it's always important to keep the diary with you. So this, like, I carry always with me, no matter where I go. Even when I'm giving class, I don't need to refer to these notes. Even then, I'll keep it with me. It just gives me confidence that Krishna is here. You know,
I was about to ask you, without diary, do you feel a bit nervous, kind of? Oh, if I miss something, when I'm going to see it?
Yes. I'm always very anxious before giving class as to how I will give class. Therefore, having this diary always with me, keeps me, gives me big confidence. And I saw my Guru Maharaj also, he always kept the diary with him, no matter where he traveled. And sometimes he would open the diary on the Vyasasana and never even look at it. Why? Because he has already looked at it so many times, and I form a habit of also going over my diary, again and again, whenever I have some spare time. So, the training our Guru Maharaj gave was, that not to waste time. And he said this Bhagavatam is known as Kavya Shastra. So there was a verse, if I can remember, Kavya Shastra Vinodena. Yes. So Kavya means poetry. So these verses of Srimad Bhagavatam are nice poetry. And, just few verses we recited in the beginning. It's so nice to hear, pleasing to the ear, pleasing to the heart. So this is called Kavya Shastra, and Vinodena. Vinodena means it is very enjoyable to hear and sing these verses, especially description of Krishna and philosophy. So he says, Kavya Shastra Vinodena, Kalam Gacchati Dhimatam. Kalam means time. Gacchati means we spend our time. Who spends his time like this? Dhimatam, the intelligent person. However, Vyadasenat Murkhanam Nidraya Kalaye Navaha. The Murkha or the foolish person, they will spend their time in either fighting, in quarreling, in sleeping, or in being lazy. So we can choose which category we want to belong to. So any time he had, we would see our Guru Maharaj just read Srimad Bhagavatam, and he's always writing. He was always writing. I remember when I was saving him in London, then I had gone out to do some shopping to get some things. And there I saw a billboard, and that billboard of all persons was of Mahatma Gandhi. And there was a saying of Mahatma Gandhi there that live as if you'll die tomorrow and learn as if you'll live forever. So I liked that saying, so I wrote it in my diary. And so, of course, while traveling for things like that, I have a smaller diary, which is this size. Which is this size. So it's easy to carry. So I wrote it. And when I went back, and I showed it to my Guru Maharaj. Oh, Maharaj, this board was there and this was written. And when my Guru Maharaj, read that, he said, oh, this is so nice. He said, and he said, for devotees, this means we should chant as if we'll die next moment. And we should learn Srimad Bhagavatam as if we'll live forever. So some people think, what's the need for remembering so many shlokas? Well, the need is there because Prabhupada has given. He used to wake up till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, wake up at that time to translate and write these purports for us. So he has put in so much hard work. So he's given everything as in the silver plate. So we just need to open the pages and bury our consciousness in it. That's why that need is there. So if we remember these two things, chant as if we'll die next moment. So then we'll chant honestly and sincerely. And then second thing, when we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we should read it and learn it, memorize it, as if we'll live forever. Then we'll see that both chanting and learning will complement each other. Our chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra will make our study of Srimad Bhagavatam deeper, and our study of Srimad Bhagavatam will make our chanting more intense and authentic. Thank you, Mataji, for the nice question. Any other questions?
Oh, I have a question. So, with regards to Bhagavad Subodhini, which is published by Bhakti Vedanta Vidyapeeth.
Yes, Prabhu.
So, how is it useful for the daily, for the devotees who are attending the Bhagavatam class, as opposed to the people who are teaching or they are giving the classes? So, for the teachers, it is very useful because then they can do the scrutinizingly how we can present a particular verse or particular subject or the summary of the Bhagavatam. But how students should take it? The Bhagavatam.
Yes. So the student should take it as a study guide because it is actually a study guide. However, it is not the main content. The main content is still Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam. That remains the main content. So Bhaktivedanta purports word to word of the verses. It is very, very important. Actually, how to study Srimad Bhagavatam is given by Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. And there it is said that Srimad Bhagavatam Arthanam, that Srimad Bhagavatam Arthanam, Artha means the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam, that should be understood. So Prabhupada has so kindly given the word-to-word meaning from Sanskrit to English so that we can follow the prescription that Rupa Goswami has given of studying Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srila Prabhupada not has just whimsically given the word-to-word meaning and the translation. No, very carefully he has given. And so he says, Srimad Bhagavatam Arthanam Aswado Rasikahi Saha. Aswado means that one should taste it.
Taste it. Yeah.
The nectarian words of Srimad Bhagavatam. Aswado Rasika Saha. Those persons who know the mellows, the rasa, as we mentioned, Rasika Bhuvi Bhavuka in the third verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Rasika Bhuvi Bhavuka. So, aswado rasikai saha. So, in this way, the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam will be revealed to the hearer and the speaker when they keep on Shrinvan Supatan and Vichara. And then in his purpose, Prabhupada has given the nectarian mellows. I was very fortunate actually to visit one of Srila Prabhupada's most senior devotees in Sunshine Coast. He's presently here. He's originally from UK. His name is Gunanuvara Prabhu, and he was the Vrindavan temple president for 7 years when Prabhupada was there. And he was one of the main architects and the builders of the Vrindavan temple.
Amazing. Wow.
And he actually told me that when we visited him, he was narrating various pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. And he was telling once I was summoned by Brahmananda Prabhu that Prabhupada wants to see me. So Gunavana Prabhu said I went to Prabhupada's room and I knocked. The door was open. So I just went in. I saw there Prabhupada in a very, very angry mood. very, very angry mood. And Prabhupada's Sanskrit translator was there, and he was sitting on the floor with his head down, and Prabhupada was chastising him. Why was Prabhupada chastising him? Because apparently his Sanskrit translator, he had overcome with a bit of pride. He was thinking, I'm actually assisting him in doing translation. And then he was going to Srila Prabhupada's God brothers. And Srila Prabhupada's God brothers were saying that what Srila Prabhupada is writing, some things need to be changed here and there. So Gunavarna Prabhu, with a very serious face, he said, this is what exactly Prabhupada said. Prabhupada said, I am not writing this. Krishna through me is making me write it. Krishna is writing it. Krishna is saying this. I'm just a humble medium instrument of Krishna's words. And they are trying to change Krishna's words. And he said, you go back there and get my Srimad Bhagavatam from there. If you want to change things, then perhaps you don't belong here. And Gunarna Prabhu, he was telling that he was shivering. Prabhupada was so upset. So we have to understand that there's that actually Prabhupada's writing itself is our core study material. Anything else, Subodhani is very, very helpful. I also look at it, but I look at it as a guide. I wouldn't spend most of my time in that. Most of the time is spent in Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavatam. Subodhani will assist us in, making inroads in understanding the themes. It presents the themes of Bhagavatam very well. It presents the setting very well, that the first setting is Vyasadeva speaking, the second setting is Sud Goswami and Shaunak Rishi speaking, and the third setting then goes to the battle of Kurukshetra when Ashwathama releases Brahmastras, and then the fourth setting and fifth setting, so on and so, because it can be very difficult to understand the setting of Bhagavatam because there isn't a linear time factor that the events go in. It goes from here, there, everywhere. So study guide can certainly help us in understanding that. But to get the essence, Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavatam, Bhaktivedanta purports, they are the main source. Nothing can replace it in any way.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very nicely explained, Prabhu. Yeah. That's really helped.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, one last question or comment, if we may have. Okay, so basically, if we can, study daily Bhagavatam, then that's the best. I remember when my first Srimad Bhagavatam copy, actually I have it here. It was the paperback copy, and it's very old. Actually, you can see the pages are falling apart. So when I was a student in university, then my aunt had given this copy to me, and this Srimad Bhagavatam was my constant companion because my university, by Krishna's arrangement, I didn't get that good marks. So the university I had to go to was very far in Melbourne, in La Trobe University in Bandura. So 1.5 hours each way I had to travel. So constantly for 1.5 hours, Srimad Bhagavatam was my companion. And I'm a very slow reader even now. I am not a fast, rapid reader, but nonetheless, somehow or the other, Bhagavatam, attracted me to itself. And Srimad Bhagavatam itself means Srimad means beautiful, one which attracts, and Bhagavatam is about the personality of Godhead. So if we give attention to Srimad Bhagavatam, we will be attracted by it. And especially since most devotees are starting this Srimad Bhagavatam, from my experience, I can say that this Sunday forum, of course, we're going at a particular pace, which is slow, but that doesn't mean that you cannot go ahead and read Srimad Bhagavatam in detail and make notes. So especially the first 6 chapters of first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam basically has everything in it. Once when I read in detail the first 6 chapters, specifically the conversation between Narad Muni and Vyasadeva in 4th to 6th chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam, then I became so convinced that actually if there's any scripture which represents the goal and the aim of life, then it has to be Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is what I can share from my experience, especially for those devotees who are starting anew in undertaking the study of Srimad Bhagavatam, and also all other devotees as well. Again and again, if we just revisit these first 6 chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam in first canto, it will solidify our understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam, the goal of Srimad Bhagavatam being Krishna, glorification of his name, form, pastimes, and paraphernalia, service to devotees. All these aspects of basic tenets of Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy and philosophy of Krishna consciousness is covered in these first 6 chapters. And in this, and when one becomes convinced of this, then Krishna consciousness is a journey of lifetime. You may want to live, but Bhagavatam will not leave you. It will bring you again and again back to Krishna.
So wonderful.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, and thank you to all the devotees for paying such a nice attention to this class of Srimad Bhagavatam. Jai Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki,
Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada ki, ISKCON Bhakti Center Yatra ki, Shri Radha Gopinath Mandir ki, Gaur Premanand.